Tag, German 2101. Welcome to the next lesson for Chapter 5, the Leipzig Station. And in this chapter, we're going to be learning what's called the Konjunktiv 1, or also called the present tense, subjunctive 1. We will also learn Konjunktiv 1 der Vergangenheit, which is going to be the subjunctive 1 of the past tense. Okay, and I know we've been rather busy working with our folks from Jena, and I hope that everyone's individual Skype meetings or uvu meetings have been going well. Some of you have had some issues downloading uvu. If that's the case, really don't worry about it. If you can download uvu and use it, it would be great, because then we could maybe record some of those sessions, and I would appreciate maybe seeing some of those. So if that's the case, go ahead and try to record them. If not, we'll work around it. Most importantly is that you're able to have at least a video conference session with them. Also, with me being out yesterday, that kind of threw some of my game plan off for showing the film. So you will be required to watch that movie from home, and we'll probably discuss this tomorrow in class and maybe show a clip or two just to get the basic idea, because you'll be talking about this with your partners for your second exchange. And because Friday we will not have class, I have to go to San Antonio for a conference presentation, so that really leaves time limited, and I'd rather use class tomorrow to kind of discuss the projects with your Jena partners and also to learn a little bit more about this, the subjunctive 1. So let's get down to it. This, well, going back to what we learned in Station 4, the Konjunktiv 2, we learned about the wenn Situationen, right? The contrary to fact situations. So, wenn ich mehr Geld hätte, or wenn es nicht so kalt wäre, right? So we use the hätte and the wäre. And the difference between that and then the Konjunktiv 1, the subjunctive 1, is that Konjunktiv 1 is used, if you look at that last bullet point, it's used for indirect discourse, okay? Reported speech. So-and-so had said this. So you're not necessarily quoting that person word for word. You're talking about what they had said. So it's kind of talking about third person here. So this is often seen in television reports, newspaper articles, etc. And let's go ahead and move on to the next slide if it wants to cooperate. There we go. Okay. So here's the basics. I'm going to show you haben and sein, and also the verb machen for how the basic form is set up. So we have ich habe, du habest, sie haben, sie es habe, wir haben, ihr habet, sie haben. Okay, so basically you're using the root of all these verbs, but you're just changing the suffix of each of them based on whatever the subject is going to be. And for the most part, we're going to be working with ich, and then also third person, sie es. Okay, so for the most part, we just need to memorize those. Here's how the verb sein would look. Ich sei, du seiest, sie seien, sie es sei, wir seien, ihr seiet, sie seien. Okay, so notice this one's a little bit more irregular, so it's just going to require memorization on your part. But the good thing is that for this test that we have for this chapter, which I'll give to you on Monday, the good thing is that it is actually take home. So you'll get to use these resources as well as your book to help you out. So I'll explain more of that in class tomorrow. So similar to haben and sein, let's look at a verb machen, one that you're very familiar with. So it would be ich mache, du machest, sie machen, sie es mache, wir machen, ihr machet, sie machen. Okay? And before I get to some other examples, let me go to the textbook Strukturen page. So I'm in the ebook page 135 and 136. If you're using your textbook, the custom design, it would be pages 150 and 151. Okay, so this basically kind of gives the same idea of what I've talked about. It's basically used for reporting, right? And looking here, the subjunctive 1 signals that the information being conveyed is coming from a source other than the speaker. Okay, for instance, Verlena sagt, Leipzig sei eine Stadt der Musik. Okay, so Felina states that Leipzig is a city of music. So maybe you can guess on the verb of the present tense infinitive of that. That would be ist. Leipzig ist eine Stadt der Musik. But this is you talking about what Felina says. So you can see there's an indirect pattern there. And that's why we use this form. Look at the second one. Felina sagt, die Stadt Leipzig pflege Bachs Erbe bis heute. Okay? So even though you might not understand what that verb is, okay, pflege, okay, we can guess that die Stadt Leipzig pflege Bachs Erbe bis heute. Okay, so pflege basically means to care for, alright? Kind of like curate. So the city of Leipzig cares for Sebastian Bach's heritage until today. So basically, still that is going on today, that Leipzig is looking after Bach's heritage, Bach's excellence, if you will. Okay, so I had shown you the verb machen. Let's look at denken. It's going to be basically the same thing. Ich denke, du denkest, right? As ich denke, wir denken, ihr denket, sie and sie denken. Okay? And then going on to sein, which we've already looked at. Alright, let's look at this paragraph right here. This is very important. For most verbs, okay, denken and then the form of machen, they're going to be the same form for all those verbs. Okay? And really only the third person singular er sie es of the subjunctive 1 is frequently used. Alright? And then to distinguish from the indicative, the other person, so ich, du, sie, wir, ihr, and sie, usually show the subjunctive 2. Verlena sagt, die Buchmesse finde jedes Jahr im März statt. Okay, so stattfinden would be the infinitive verb. Verlena sagt, 12.000 Gebäude würden aus der Gründerzeit stammen. Okay, really we're only going to need this first example right here of what you need to know. Alright, the next thing we need to then know is the past subjunctive, so Konjunktiv 1 der Vergangenheit. Okay, so just like we had to learn the differences with the subjunctive 2, which was the station 4 information, same thing with the subjunctive 1, right? Ich habe geträumt, du habest geträumt, sie ist habe geträumt. So this is an example of träumen, to dream, of a verb that requires haben as the auxiliary. So notice geträumt is going to stay the same as the past participle. The only thing we're changing is the form of haben. So you really just need to recognize the form of haben, and then also if it's a verb that requires sein, alright, ich sei gewesen, du seiest gewesen, sie sei gewesen, etc. So used in an example, Clara schreibt, sie habe gestern von Robert geträumt. In der Zeitung stand, viele Leipziger seien bei den Montagsdemonstrationen gewesen. Okay? Looking back at our PowerPoint, some more examples. I have the present tense examples on the left. Sabine macht ihre Hausaufgabe, used in the subjunctive 1. Sabine sagt, sie mache ihre Hausaufgabe. Okay? So instead of directly saying Sabine does her homework, we're saying Sabine says that she is doing her homework. Sabine sagt, sie mache ihre Hausaufgabe. As if you were telling someone else that Sabine is doing her homework, according to what Sabine said. Der Mann geht zum Supermarkt. Der Mann sagt, gehe zum Supermarkt. Oma sagt, Opa trinkt jeden Tag ein Glas Milch. Oma sagt, Opa trinke jeden Tag ein Glas Milch. So really all we're doing is we're recognizing what this verb is, alright, and then we're recognizing how to make it into this subjunctive 1 form. It's rather simple. Okay, past tense, again, let's look at this example down here. Robert sagt, habe am Wochenende zu viel Arbeit gemacht. Okay? And then one with sein. Robert sagt, sei am Wochenende nach Leipzig gegangen. And that's really it. So when we have the homework assignments from the iLearn, please consider all of these rules. Use the ebook, use your textbook to your advantage, and we'll explain more in class. Danke. Tschüss.